We're going to be doing a few quadratic equations through the factoring method in the quadratic formula. First, we're going to be solving this equation through the factoring method. Now the first step we will be doing is to set this equation equal to 0. Our goal is to find factors of 25 that when added up, we get negative 10. Factors of 25 that add up to negative 10 would be 5. Because 5 times 5 is 25. And then negative 5 minus positive 5, we will get negative 10. Now we know what sign to use by looking at this sign and this sign. A negative times a negative, you get a positive. And a negative minus a positive, we get a negative. Our next step will be to set each to 0. And coincidentally, we will get the same answer. And our answer for this factoring problem is x equals 5. Now let's do another equation through the factoring method before we move on to the quadratic formula. Now once again, we will set this equation to equal to 0. And our main goal is to find factors of 49, then when added up, we get 56. But also, since we have a number in this position, we have to find factors of 16. And since 16 is a perfect square, we will do 4. Because 4 times 4, we get 16. And factors of 49, when added up to equal 56, will be 7. And we can know this by doing 4 times 7 is 28. And then 7 times 4 is 28. 28 plus 28 gives us 56. And we know what sign to use because both of these are positive, so we'll use the plus sign. Our next step will be to set each to 0. And coincidentally, we will get the same answer. And our answer for this factoring equation is y equals negative 7 over 4. Now we're going to be doing a few problems using the quadratic formula. The quadratic formula is negative b plus or minus square roots of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. And we will be plugging in the following equation into the formula to get our answer. Now, like we did using the factoring method, we will have to set this equal to 0. And remember that when using the quadratic formula, it uses a, b, and c, where a, b, and c are just numbers. They're the numerical coefficients. So let's label these. And now we're ready to plug it into the formula. Now our first step will be to do everything that's under the square root. And remember, a negative times a negative is a positive, so we can go ahead and clear that up. Four times 1 times 25 gives us 100, and a negative times a negative gives us a positive, all over 2. And the square root of 200 gives us 10. And now, to find the answer, we'll have to do 10 plus 10 over 2. And that gives us 5. And then we do 10 minus 10 over 2 gives us 0. So we have two answers for this problem, and that's 5 and 0. Now let's do one more problem using the quadratic formula. Once again, we will set this to 0, label each accordingly. That way it will be easier for us to plug it into the formula. Now we're ready. Now our first step will be to solve everything that's under the square root. Four times 1 times negative 18 gives us positive 72. Because once again, a negative times a negative gives us a positive. 49 plus 72 gives us 121. The square root of 121 is 11. Our next step will be to do negative 7 plus 11 over 2 gives us x equals 2. And negative 7 minus 11 over 2 gives us negative 9. And that will be our answer, x equals 2 and negative 9. And that's how we solve quadratic equations, through the factoring method and through the quadratic formula.